Marketing Your Private Practice is a podcast where you'll learn easy to implement tips and strategies to grow your business without spending all day online. I'm your host, Colaiacovo, and I teach practitioners the Thrive marketing method to create simple and streamlined plans by focusing on long-term strategies, not just social media. Discover ways to spend less time on your marketing, attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. You work hard at generating leads for your private practice and building your email marketing list, yet only a fraction of those folks on your list actually read your email content. But what if there was a way to do something that takes less than 10 minutes and could help more people open those emails? Today, I'm sharing a marketing strategy that's helped many of my clients and students get an average of 10% or more of the people on their email list opening those emails every time they send a newsletter or an email. Let's get to it. Practitioners like you deserve a thriving practice helping your clients live long, healthy lives. But this won't happen if you're spending more time on marketing than you do working with clients. I'm Colaiacovo, marketing strategist for practitioners and dietitians, and I can tell you that marketing your private practice shouldn't be complicated or take hours a day. This podcast helps you build your confidence and skills with actionable and easy to understand marketing strategies, along with time-saving tips. You'll learn to spend less time on your marketing, how to attract more clients, and build the financial freedom that comes with a thriving practice. One where you have time left in your day for the people and things that matter to you. Email marketing is one of the best activities you can put time into because the ROI on your time in this marketing activity will be the one that pays off the most. But this also means that, like any practice or business owner using email marketing, you're always looking for ways to get more folks opening and reading your emails. Now, this is not to say you should be ignoring other marketing like social media and offline marketing. Not at all. The truth is they all work together, especially if you follow a system to repurpose your content. But if you were to ask me what marketing activity you should never, ever skip over, my answer would be to focus on growing your email list and sending consistent emails with lessons and information and using that same information as a blog on your website. These lessons that you send build that know, like, and trust factor with your email community. And honestly, that community is your most loyal and qualified one filled with prospects for your practice. Why? Because they got on your email list typically by requesting a lead magnet, your free offer that you have, something they felt had information in it that could help them. And this is exactly what you need to build your email list with new people. A lead magnet that attracts your ideal client. This is why your lead magnet is one of your 10 foundations for marketing a private practice. It's one of those foundations that helps you get more results from your marketing when it's all up and running and working. List building is getting new people on your email marketing system, and it's also one of the key marketing activities practice owners need to focus on. Building a list of qualified leads, prospects who really fit your ideal client profile, people you would love to work with. The people who request your lead magnet are those folks. They believe you have something to offer them, that you can help them. And to solidify the idea that you can help them, that you can help them do even more than what was in that lead magnet, the marketing activity of sending consistent and regular emails is that extra something that's going to help build the trust in you. And I know I've been saying emails, but let's be honest, I mean newsletters. I know you might not want to hear this, but newsletters help you develop the relationship that started with the lead magnet. Sending regular newsletters to those new leads help them see the value in your expertise and really helps them get to know you. Consistent and regular emailing to your list will do this. It's not enough to just get the leads. You've got to really have a good plan to nurture them too, with consistent communication. And today what I want to do is share a marketing strategy that can actually help you get more people to open those emails you send. This strategy has helped many of my clients and students get an average of 10% or more of the people on their email list opening those emails. Now, I will say that this lesson does assume that you're using an email marketing system and you have a list of people to email and send newsletters to. If you're not at that stage yet, you definitely want to start with exploring and looking at email marketing systems and how you can get one set up. Your email marketing system is another one of those 10 marketing foundations I'm always talking about, and I highly recommend you use one of them over sending manual emails. Trying to collect leads and send people a lead magnet by having a manual setup way of doing this will honestly take you way more time than you want to spare. And the reality is, even paying for an email marketing system, if you think about how much time that will save you, the value of that money invested into an email marketing system will pay off immensely and very quickly. There are tons of email marketing systems out there that you can get set up, and a lot of them you can use for free even when you're starting. So you will want to look at that and figure out what is the best email system for you if you're not at that stage yet. When you go manual for list building, though, I will promise you it will take more time. And there's so many extras you can get from those email marketing systems that will help you do more and reach more people too. Almost every system out there that you can choose to use for your practice will have features that help you save time, but they also have features that help you understand exactly how many people are reading your emails, opening your emails, and interacting with them too. How many are really paying attention and consuming that content you're taking the time to send out there? The features in these email marketing systems can always be used to your advantage to improve what you're doing when it comes to marketing your private practice. And that's one of the things I love best about them. They have a lot of features and then a lot of reporting that has one purpose only, and that's for you to learn what you can do better when it comes to marketing your practice. One of these features that many of these email marketing systems have is one that can actually help you spend maybe 10 minutes, 15 at the most, and it will help you get more people to open and read the emails you send. Now, I will say that if you're using a system that doesn't offer this, you might want to rethink the system you're using. I do have a blog on my website that I wrote about choosing the best email system for you, and I'll link to that in the show notes so that you can have a good understanding of what you want to be looking for when you're starting out with an email marketing system. But when it comes to these systems and sending newsletters and that consistent content, you probably know already that not everyone that you have on your email list is going to open and read your email. And this is what gets so frustrating about marketing, is when you look at some of these stats, on average, 20 to 25% of the people on your list might open and read your email. And this is what gets so frustrating because you work really hard at creating the content, you work really hard at generating those leads, at building your list. Yet for most of us, only about a quarter of the folks that you have on that list are actually going to read your content. And I know that can be really disheartening, but here's the thing. Even if your average over time is a little higher than the standard 25, I want to help you get even more people opening those emails that you send. And this tactic I'm going to share with you has helped boost several of my clients' open rates by more than 10%, and mine is included in that as well. And even with the clients that I have that have higher open rates, like 35 and 40%, this tactic that I'm going to tell you about helps even those ones with the high open rates get an average of 10% or more opening those emails. So why do you want to try and do this in the first place? Well, most practice and business owners I know are doing this because they want to make sure as many people as possible open and consume. You want them reading or listening to your emails, the content that you send out. You put your time, your heart, your energy into it, and you want to have that payoff by having as many people possible read and consume it. That's why this strategy works so well, because it helps you achieve that very goal, getting as many people as you can to read your content. The tactic is one that a lot of people overlook. And from something that one of my inner circle members talked about this past summer, they were doing this, but they were following the steps in their email marketing system. And when I shared the tactics that I'm going to share with you here in a minute, one of the things that they noticed is that it made a little more sense on the way that I was talking about it versus what they found in the help files from their email marketing system. So I want you to really think about that. And it may mean looking at your system and understanding what it can or can't do and whether or not you can follow exactly what I'm telling you here. But usually there's always a workaround on that. So if you can't do what I'm going to share with you here, feel free to book a call with me, a free 15-minute call. Let me know what system you're using, and I can give you some ideas on how you can actually make this happen as well, even though you might have a system that isn't making it as easy to do as you think. So the strategy we're talking about here, because I haven't shared what the name of this is, it is simply called resending your emails. Now, if you haven't heard it before, it's a very simple yet powerful email marketing strategy. You're simply resending your email, your newsletter, to the people who didn't open it the first time when you sent it. Now, it sounds easy, right? And it really is. But one thing I want to warn you about is don't just run out and start sending your newsletters and emails out again and again. There are a couple of tactics and strategies to make this entire marketing strategy of resending emails work the best way possible. And like I said, when I discovered this with my inner circle members, when we were talking about it, some of the help files in the email system share very different ways of doing it, and they're not nearly as effective as what I'm going to tell you about doing here today. So you want to do the resending of your emails in a very specific way. And like I said, some email systems may not make it easy, but a lot of them can. ConvertKit, Aweber, MailerLite, they make it all really easy to do this, to do the resending of your emails. And that's why I love them the best out of all the systems that are out there. So let's start first with strategy number 1 of resending emails. What emails should you actually resend? Typically, these are going to be done with a regular newsletter, okay? There are some email systems out there that can also resend some of your autoresponder emails. So if you have a series of emails that someone gets when they sign up for a lead magnet and they don't open them, there are some systems out there that can resend those as well. Not all of them can do it. It's a pretty advanced feature, but it is possible. So the system that we're going to talk about today is really getting started with the basics and resending your regular newsletter. So that monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly newsletter you send to your list, we want to make sure that even though you sent it today, and by next week, say 20% of the people opened it, we want you to be able to resend that in a way that you could possibly get another 10% of the people on your email list opening it. So the idea is when you look at the list in your report of folks who didn't open the first email, most systems that are out there will allow you to do one click and make a list of the people who didn't open the original email. And that way you've got your starting point of doing the resend of that email to the people who didn't open it. A lot of systems will often start a new email after you hit a button in your email report that says resend the email to the unopens. Or there's a couple systems that will allow you to make a segment of the people that didn't open it, and then you're going to just copy the email to resend to them. Okay? So often when you do this, your system is going to start a new email or a broadcast or a campaign, whatever they call it in your system, that's going to be set up to go to those who didn't register as an open from the first email. So you'll have to probably go in and check your specific system to know and understand how to do this. And like I said, if you're not sure once you get in there, feel free to book a call with me and we can just quickly figure out. I can quickly guide you to whatever way you might need to do it depending on the system that you have. So the first strategy is what emails are you going to send? The second strategy is the timing. You have to think about when you're going to resend this newsletter and this email. And this is where my advice differs from some of the systems in the help files when it says to resend the emails within a few days. I totally disagree with that. I come to marketing from a place of always thinking about the people I'm marketing to and their behaviors and their habits. And not everybody out there opens every email every day when it comes in. Some might do a weekly check-in, especially on the not as urgent emails that newsletters will fall into. A lot of folks that I know actually have a fake email that they use for newsletters to keep their main email clear and free of newsletters and promotional emails. If you use Gmail or G Suite or Google Business Mail, you'll often find that a lot of these might go into the promotions folder. So people typically aren't always going to open that email the first day and the first morning that it shows up in their inbox. Now, a lot of you will have raving fans and people that will look for it and be ready and willing to open it as soon as it gets in there because they want the information, which is awesome. But you have to think that most folks are probably not going to open every single email when it comes in. So this is where you have to think about the timing for resending your email. Now, your timing is also going to depend on the cycle that you have for your emails and newsletters. If you do a monthly one or biweekly one or weekly one, the timing of your resend will be different. So for instance, if you did a monthly newsletter, I would probably recommend you resend it 10 days to 2 weeks later. Give people as much time as possible to open it, but then resend it so that they get it if they didn't open it in the first place. If you have a biweekly one where you send one every other week or twice a month, then I recommend doing it the next week and kind of timing it out that way, anywhere between 7 and 10 days. If you have a weekly one, you really want to make sure that you do this before the next issue comes out. So I typically recommend 4 to 5 days later. Most cases, we do this 5 days later. So thinking about your cycle for your emails and newsletters and the timing that you want to send it out there will determine what day you want to resend it. And I do recommend you pick the same day and same time to do the resend each week. But the date of the resend should not be done on the same day of the week that your original one goes out there. So when we're talking about timing and the strategy of the timing, I really want you to try and send that resend of it out on a different day. You want to do whatever you can to help more people open the email. So if you think about it, what if the regular day that you send it on, maybe 5% of your email list is so busy on that day, they never open the emails. But if you sent it on a different day of the week, life is different for them that day. And that helps open up the opportunity for them to open it up on that different day. So picking a different day and the timing of it really work hand in hand. The other thing about timing when you're resending an email is dated info in the email. And this is really important. A lot of people forget to do this, but always, always, always change any date specific information in your original email and change it so that you're not sending outdated info, because that is just going to drop your credibility a lot with the people that do open the resend. So if you sent a newsletter that was referring to, say, Labor Day, we'll talk about, and you're referencing the start of the school year or something like that in it, but when your resend is going to go, that is going to be in the past. You want to look at updating and changing that information. Now, I would tell you that this entire plan is something that when you're doing your marketing and creating the content and writing the article in the first place for that original newsletter, you should always be thinking about resending it. So when I create mine, and the way I teach folks in my programs is when you create the original one, plan for making those changes in the version that's going to go into the resend. So maybe make a paragraph or a note to yourself or to your admin or VA, if you have one helping you, that on the resend, this dated information doesn't go, or make a change of what you want to see instead of that and replace it with something else in there as well. That's just really critical to do so that you're not sending what looks like out of date information to the people on your list. Now, strategy number 3 about resending your emails is the subject line. So this is something else that you can also plan and prepare for when you're creating the original article. And sometimes there's different advice on this. Change the subject line, don't change the subject line. But for me, I really believe in changing the subject line. And the reason I do that is because many folks out there have their inbox or their emails sorted by conversation or subject lines. And what that means is If I get an email in my inbox and I reply to it, it stays in the same email thread in my inbox. So if somebody else sends me a reply back, then it goes in there. If they forward it and it's got the same subject line in there, it stays in that one same thread. And it's not seen as a brand new email. That's why I like to change subject lines so that it shows up in someone's inbox as an entirely new email, giving them an entirely new opportunity to read it. Now, in doing some research for this lesson in this episode, I did see a study by MailChimp, who, by the way, are not my favorite email marketing system out there. We've had a little toe-to-toe before in the past because of some features that I just think are so basic that they don't offer. And frankly, they've changed their free account to be very low on features. And there are definitely lots of other systems out there that can give you a free account that do give you features like being able to get access to the help, email help even. So anyhow, backing up here, I saw a study by MailChimp that said changing the subject line can actually increase complaint rates. So I'm going to tell you, I've been using this practice with my clients and myself and recommending it to students for over 10 years. And I've never seen a shift in people complaining about the resend email that came into their inbox. So I personally think changing the subject line helps you reach people who may not normally be checking their email. Number one, because you're sending it on a different date. And number two, by having the different subject line, it's going to come into their inbox as a new email and not be grouped with the earlier version, should that be the way that they have their system set up. So when you do this, it really just shows up as a brand new email with a new subject line. And the way that I look at this is the strategy that we do with this with my clients and students typically is helping people see 8% or more. And for my clients and myself, the average is more like 11% more people are opening the email. The studies that I found online saw an average about 8%, but personally from my own stats and tracking that I do for myself and clients, it's more like 11%. And to give you an idea of this, I thought I'd share a couple numbers from my stats tracking on my own emails and one of my clients, just so that you can see and understand how such a simple action like this, like resending your email, can increase the number of people who are reading your emails. And it'll probably change your mind on whether or not this strategy is actually worth doing. And so these are stats that we track for every client. I teach folks in my programs and my clients, we do this all the time because being able to see and compare these kind of stats and numbers is really critical information to know what and how to change your marketing so that you can improve and get better results. I do offer a free template of this stats tracking document that I talk of, and it comes with a video tour of using the tracker. So I'll link to that in the show notes for this episode as well. It really, really makes tracking things like this so easy to do. And the big thing that I like about this is you get that sort of big picture view of all the numbers, the way that I've got the template set up, so that you can really see the trends and see what's going on. And it just makes it so easy to look at these numbers and use them to do more with your marketing. So for the numbers that I was talking about, for me, I'm going to just give you some of the numbers from the last 5 emails that I've sent out myself. So the open rates from the resend of the email were, for the 5 that I'm talking about here, they were 12%, 8%, 13%, 12%, and 9%. So that is the percentage of people who opened the resend of the email of my 5 recent newsletters. Now, the original email already had an average of 38% open. So this actually helps bump my overall average up to the mid 40s, which is awesome to see. And for some people, that can mean hundreds or thousands more people reading and opening your emails. Now, some of the same numbers for a client of mine were 13%, 9%, 12%, 9%, and 16%. So you can see they vary a little bit, but 16%. Now, she already has an open average rate of 41%. But bringing her number up, she's now getting close to 50 or more every time of people that are opening and reading her emails and newsletters. And boosting that is a huge deal, because when you resend your emails like this, you're really putting out there an opportunity to increase the number of people opening the emails and consuming your content, reading your messages and hearing what you have to say and learning more from you. Plus, for most of the systems out there, honestly, this task might actually take 5 to 10 minutes to do. ConvertKit, the system that I use and a lot of my clients and students use, literally it's like 5 minutes. We open the newsletter report. We click on the link where it shows the unopened people that didn't open it. We hit send to unopen, another button we click. We change the subject line. We schedule the time of day for it to go, and then it's all set up. That is literally all we do to make that happen. And as I mentioned before, when I'm creating the article, I actually put into all the notes. So my VA has the resend subject line right there from the original day. I gave her all the content for the first newsletter to send. And so there's no back and forth with her and I. It's just part of the system and the process that we have. 10 minutes. And I really feel that 10 minutes is a good investment in time to get potentially hundreds more people opening your email. 10 minutes. That's all it takes. And I really feel 10 minutes is a good investment of time to get potentially hundreds more people opening your emails. And even if you have a small list, 10% more is a big jump in how many people are opening it, especially when you consider that if you don't take the time to do this, you're just going to have the same original amount of people opening it. So think about how the folks in that additional 10%, you could be reaching somebody that really needed to hear your message that day and might end up being your next client. Now, there are a couple cons and not so positive things that are happening when it comes to resending emails. It's not an exact science with some of the inboxes out there. Sometimes they can register as an unopened email when in fact it was open, and vice versa. So there is a possibility that folks did get and opened the first version. But my theory on this is it's okay. With a different subject line, many people might think it's another email and not realize it was the same content. They may not have paid attention to it well in the first place. And so coming in the second time, it may be the time that they have more time to look at it and read it and pay attention to it. Also, with the advent of Apple's new privacy rules and the setup they've got there, it's an entire possibility that people using an Apple device to read their email means it's registering as an open, but it actually may not have been opened. So resending these actually increases the odds of people actually opening it, especially the Apple users. This is a privacy change they did this year, and it's probably why you've noticed a jump in your open rates in this year alone anyhow. The changes that Apple made have meant that the email systems aren't able to properly track some of the open rates as effectively. And what that means is that they register as an open and they show up as a open in your percentage amount when they're actually not opened. So you can learn a little bit more about this in a previous article that I shared, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. Overall, the cons of this marketing strategy and resending your emails versus the pros, it's really all about taking a few minutes and getting as many people as possible to open your emails and consume the content that you took the time to create for them. Making sure the marketing you do have in place is as effective as possible. So your action step for today from this lesson here on the Marketing Your Private Practice podcast, get your own stats tracking document in place so that you can record the numbers from your emails and your newsletters and know what your open rates are and know what you can be doing and how you can be making changes if you resend them. And in that document, along with everything else that you can track in there, in the template that I have, social media community, lead magnets, web page visits, even consults, you really want to be tracking these open rates and the resend rates as well and getting that average from both of them. So if you need a template to use for that, grab my free one from the resources in the show notes for this episode. And then what I want you to do is make a plan for when and where you're going to resend your newsletters and emails. Track those numbers and see if you start getting more open rates from your content and more people reading it. And in return from there as well, getting more people reaching out to you too. If you have any questions on resending your own newsletters or emails or the system that you have and how you can make it work in there and you're not sure, send me a DM on Instagram and we can book a call as well. You'll find me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing. So much easier to spell than my last name. Ask away. And if you want to book a call with me, I'll have a link to do that in the show notes as well. Make sure you check out all the resources from the episode today, and you'll find them all at marketingyourprivatepractice.com/12. And I'm really looking forward to hearing how resending your email is making a change in your open rate. So be sure to send me a message on Instagram and let me know how it's working and what it's doing for you and your practice. You can find all of our show notes and resources mentioned at marketingyourprivatepractice.com. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at pepperitmarketing and say hi. I'd love to hear any feedback you have, and make sure to rate and review the podcast and hit subscribe on your favorite player so you don't miss any future episodes.